Hi, so this is Joel, and this is one of my first streams like this. I wanted to share a little bit about what I've been doing, building a program over the last year that is specifically built to programmatically trade stocks, both in the United States and internationally through Interactive Brokers API using Python. I'm going to give you guys a demonstration of my program and kind of give a little bit of background on what it's doing and what the approach is. So first off, let me pop over to Interactive Brokers interface. So this is Trader Workstation, which is used to buy and sell stocks. It's just an application that directly connects for trading. You can see I own a pretty large number of different securities through here, mostly stocks, but across different nations. You see a lot of, this is on the Mexican Stock Exchange, this is on Sweden Stock Exchange, here you have one in France, another one in Denmark, and more in Australia, Japan, and other markets. And I trade these automatically with the program I've built. The basic overall concept of this program is that I want to own stocks that have great underlying fundamental values. So for example, let me just grab one here. Let's see, what would be a good example? We'll just use this one as an example. And if we go to Fundamentals Explorer here, which is a tool that shows you fundamental data about stocks and securities, this is a supermarket chain in the southeast of the United States of America. What I've looked at with this primarily is how do its financials do. So you can see it's had, it has a 1.1, or basically about a $1.2 billion market cap, but it's actually generating $4.6 billion in revenue. So basically, for every dollar you spend purchasing stock in this company, you get $4 in revenue. And the net income is also pretty solid, 178 million it looks like, includes ordinary items. Going to key ratios, which I like to check out as well. Basically a PE ratio of 9, which is quite good, and a price to sales ratio of 0.25, which is also quite good. It also pays a dividend, not a very large one, but still does pay 1%. Typically, I also like to check a little bit about the news on the stock, just to make sure it's not about to go bankrupt or anything like that. So basically what I like to do, once again, is look at the fundamentals, just make sure that, hey, this company generates a lot of revenue and a lot of profit for what the market price is. Generally, I prefer companies that pay dividends. I prefer companies that have the CEO. The founder is the CEO still. I'm the founder of my own company, and I understand that a founder typically has a lot better understanding of a business than a hired gun CEO. And I have a few other factors I look at as well, based on the health of the company. And as a person who's run his own company, I know that revenue is about the hardest number to fudge. You can't really pump up revenue unless you're just doing outright fraud like Enron did. But earnings can easily be gained one way or another direction, so I put a little less emphasis on those, although profit is the reason that most companies are in business. Let me come back over here now, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how this actually works in practice for me. So I have, as you can see up here, approximately 30,000 stocks in my database. These are stocks and companies all across the world, across every major stock market serviced by Interactive Brokers. And I apply a scoring algorithm that runs across all of these. And the goal of this scoring algorithm is to find me the very best fundamental companies based on revenue, profits, CEO being founder, dividends, all that sort of stuff. So best, most profitable companies. I have a whole formula that goes through and updates on a daily basis across all these stocks and puts them in here and lets me know what companies are good and what are not. You'll notice here that I also have a column called Vetoed. So basically, I look at all the top-ranking stocks and go through them manually, because I don't trust the algorithm entirely yet, and I always find little problems. So anywhere you see the number 1, that means true, which means I vetoed it for a variety of reasons. Some of these companies, like Wirecard, I think that company may actually be going bankrupt, and that's why it got vetoed here. And that would also give companies very good numbers. So if a company has very high amount of revenue and high amount of earnings in previous years, but just recently declared for bankruptcy, its market cap will be very low compared to its revenues, and so it'll artificially get too many points. So I got to check that stuff out. And there's a few weird ones here, like the Bank of Japan is actually publicly traded, but it's a central bank and never really returns money to shareholders that I can tell. Kind of a weird deal. So anyways, I vetoed it. I don't really understand it. I do invest in companies like Amcon Distributing, Excel Point, and on down. And I've kind of gone through a lot of these. If there's null, then that means I just haven't had a chance to review it. But you'll see I've reviewed quite a few of these companies, at least enough to have my algorithm run and pull these in and start buying the ones that I do like. So I'll run you through a little bit more here, but essentially the way this overall program works is it will get all the previous historical trades I've had. It gathers data from Charles Schwab, which is another broker I use, and compares with Interactive Brokers just to do a sanity check, make sure the numbers are okay. Fixed exchanges, this goes through, and Interactive Brokers sometimes uses weird exchange information. This checks for that, double and clears it. Schwab Reader, this goes through and reads out the CSVs provided by Schwab, and then I have a program that scores Schwab stocks. That's what that does right there. This cleans out duplicates, and then it does an additional level of scoring. Then we come over to Interactive Brokers. This gets all the positions I currently have. This gets all the exchange rates, because as I mentioned, I trade stocks in Japanese stock market, which would be the yen, and I trade in other currencies as well. So obviously I need to know how those currencies compare to the US dollar in order to run this algorithm correctly. I also have a parse Interactive Brokers, TWS, snapshots. So I download all these snapshot data, all the underlying numbers. I parse through it with this right here. Then I calculate a score based on that parsing. And then here I combine the Schwab and the TWS scores, check and compare the data. Then this goes through and looks at my positions and sets tags for it, as well as converts everything to US dollars. And that basically gathers me all my core base data. This algorithm right here actually pulls in every single stock as well, and helps me make sure I'm getting all 30,000 updated. I also have another program up here that goes out and finds new stocks. This scrapes Interactive Brokers' website. They have pages and pages, thousands of pages of all the stocks and exchanges that they host, and this automatically goes through and scrapes those, puts the data in my database. And once I have all that data, I've got it all cleaned up, I've got a scored set of stocks. What I do is I come over here and actually begin trading. I have a number of different algorithms I use for trading based on how a stock does, but I use this master program to run everything. And what the master does is it cancels all current trades, clears my data, and it will update my positions, that sort of thing. And then what it's going to do is actually going to run one of these programs, which I typically which I would have uncommented and running. You can see here, take profits. What this does is stocks that have seen significant major increases, I start automatically harvesting some of the profits. Basically, the way this works is every time a stock goes up 5% from the last highest price I sold at, it'll sell 5% of that stock. So I'll never completely exit a position, but it also allows me to be selling stock, even if I'm not looking at any individual stock and just kind of checking it. Basically, collect some of my profits while still allowing me to hold the position. I also have a tax loss harvest negative positions. This is a very important algorithm. I recommend anybody who does systematic trading have. It's the only free, easy money you have, especially if you're a high-income person. Basically, tax loss harvesting is a beautiful thing that if you bought in at a stock for $1,000, drops to $500, you had a $500 loss. Well, if you sell it and then you reinvest that money into a very similar stock, you still are exposed in the same way for it to go back up, but you've captured a $500 tax loss now, which means you can write that off against your taxes and potentially save 20, 30, 40%, 50%, depending on what tax bracket you are and how many gains you've had that year. I also have this algorithm for sell low point stocks. So this helps me clear out stocks that have, for whatever, dropped down in my scoring system, and that could be because their price has gone way up, and I now need to capture some of those profits, or it could be that the score has gone down because they had a bad quarter or year, in which case the company's going south and probably not somewhere I really want to be long run. And then I have an automated buy algorithm that basically I just put in a dollar amount and what time I want to do it over. And this algorithm goes out and purchases stocks that are highest in point scoring, but avoid stocks that I've already owned, as well as some other rules that help fine tune that. And then if I want to invest in any specific stock, and just regardless of the general algorithms above that buy and sell stocks on their own, I can use just select the best algo for trade, put in the ID of the stock I want to buy, the time period, the desired dollar amount, and if I have an algorithm I want to request, I can use that. Some of my algorithms are a market maker, which basically this sits, if you're buying a stock, it sits at the bid. If you're selling a stock, it sits at the ask, and tries to make the most profitable trades there, but it generally will sit there and wait in small chunks and take them as they come. Then I have another algorithm, efficient in-out algorithm, where it starts above a current price and increments down by the minimum tick until it reaches the bid if you're buying, and then the orders start to appear. And this is more of a timed algorithm that pushes its way to make sure that you make the sale. I also have VTWEMA, which is a general algorithm that gets heavily used automatically by me. And this is a volume and time weighted exponential moving average algorithm that watches a stock, and if the stock price is going down and I'm looking to buy, it's going to hold off as long as that stock price is going down, and then once the stock price starts to go back up, it'll jump in and buy. So it kind of watches the stock market and tries to pick and get me in to buy at the low points and sell at the high points. Generally fairly effective and works pretty well. And I'm actually going to get this thing ready to launch and run right now because I want it to run overnight. One thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to look at Google Finance, which is something I like to do just to get a general pulse of where the market is overall. And right now it's fairly high, which means I'm pretty confident in making sales into the market. A lot of my stocks are closer to the Russell average since Yeah, jeez. Since I'm doing more fundamental-based stocks, which often ends up being smaller stocks that retail investors don't know about. So yeah, this is pretty near high. I'm pretty happy to make some sales here. Likely overall, I'm going to be selling into a profit. I do have a lot of these as in at a profit here. So I'll sort by unrealized profit and loss, but I have a lot of stocks there in the green, as you can see. I have a number in the red, but they're not as deep in the red as most of the stocks that are in the green are in the green. So yeah, gonna pop back over here. So I'm gonna run my take profits. That's gonna help me collect some of the profits. I've been thinking about running this more broadly. One thing I've been doing, I believe take profits runs across all my stocks. Good. One of these algorithms only runs on US stocks, but I want to expand it to international stocks as well. Might be my tax loss harvest all negative positions. What this is going to do is go through all my positions, check and see if the trades exist, and then go through and begin to put them out there. I'm excluding certain positions manually. Then I have kind of documentation for how I made a bunch of decisions in terms of what buys, sells, what the costs are, all this sort of stuff. So yeah, let me come back up here. That one looks good to me to run as well. Then sell low point stocks. This is one I would think about running, but it's probably going to sell a lot of these older fundamental stocks I have. They're a little lower on points. One thing I haven't done as well yet is I don't have it balancing between different countries and currencies. It basically just looks for the best opportunities in its opinion, but it's been a little heavily looking at Japanese and Italian stocks, both of which I'm not a fan of because their central banks are pretty crazy. But those are the best opportunities because other investors have been avoiding those stock exchanges for the same reasons. Maybe I should trust my algorithms and trust that those are the best value stocks, and other investors, including me, emotionally just can't come to grips with it, or maybe I need to keep a little better controls on it. Yeah, you can see right here, I'm limiting it to only stocks in the US dollar currency. And with over less than or equal to 75 points. So let's come back over here and let's look at, we can actually look at how many of my positions are in which stocks. So let me see. I have a little SQL that will run and tell me what I want to know here. Positions. Where's my thing that grabs my positions? Oh, this is my positions by currency. We've got a good solid mix there. Too much in the US dollar at this point. Let's see here. So this will combine everything and sort by score, but that's not the one I want yet. Contract position. Which one will go by score? This one, I think. Okay. This one will give it to me by score, descending. So if we go executes. Just takes a few seconds to run. It's joining 3 very large tables with left outer joins, which means they're tripling in size, and one of those tables has 30,000 rows, so I think this usually takes 30-something seconds or so. I might have to go look at something else and come back. Yeah, we just pop over here actually. Look at Joe contract, that'll be quicker. Okay, Joe contract. We come back here. So total scores So this is where it's going to end up looking to sell. So it's down at 75. There's that query just came back. So if it's all the way down at 75, these are mostly stocks I haven't had a chance to review. So this is not actually a bad decision here, I think. It basically, any stock that I haven't really reviewed is going to start peeling out. And so let's go look at, we'll sort this by US dollar value as the primary. And then we'll sort by, we'll come over here and sort secondarily by my score. Well, I guess I can't really, because US dollar value will dominate. So anything under 75 is it's going to try and sell regardless if I change this. Most of these are actually going to look okay to me. That's good news. If I start by US dollar value, I've got score, Weyerhaeuser, which is a stock I like, but I've manually chosen to include it, should be banned, but where is Weyerhaeuser? Huh, where's Weyerhaeuser? Come back over here. Financial instruments. Weyerhaeuser. Yeah, a substantial investment in Weyerhaeuser. For some reason, I'm not seeing it immediately over here. Let me look. Oh. Now I can do it. Control F. WY. Okay. That should be Weyerhaeuser. Is that WY? No, I'm going to type in Weyerhaeuser. Weyerhaeuser. Not even showing up. Oh, very interesting. Well, let's come over to my contracts. And let's do a search for symbol equals Weyerhaeuser. WY. There's Weyerhaeuser. 3948 is the con ID. I might need to update my positions. J contract ID equals Weyerhaeuser. There's Weyerhaeuser. Okay. And it has it right there. For some reason that query just a second ago did not pull it back correctly. Let me go look at that little query. It's all in the database correctly. It's just, am I required to have a fundamental? It should just be, oh, it's contract with these things. I want to search by position. Well, yeah. The key thing here is that I want Weyerhaeuser to be kept. So Weyerhaeuser will be kept. And I do want to sell a lot of those positions that might have a little bit of a lower score. So let's go back and let's just make doubly sure here. We're going to create a new quickie query. And we're just going to go select star from IB app Joe position, left outer join. I'll just do a left inner join or outer join. I'm at my problem. We'll do an left outer join with Joe contracts. Yes. And then we want to order by IB app. I need 2 underscores. Well, we just want to order by total score. Actually, is what I want to do. Total score right there. Order by total score. Descending. Okay. So that fun little SQL query should bring me back what I'm looking for. Okay. Oh, that's total score descending. Oh, so here's the stocks with bad scores that I own that would likely go bye-bye. Let's pull them on over here so we can see it right next to the name of it. Okay, and the US dollar value. So buy to Navios Maritime, Royal Dutch Shell, Guild Holdings, South 32. Now, Royal Dutch Shell was actually a good stock for a while. I'm a little surprised it got a negative score. Let's go take a look at this and just double check. It's always good to double check. Let's do a little sanity check. So here's Royal Dutch Shell. Royal Dutch Shell is the big oil company. And oil's prices have been going up quite a bit, so I would like to know why this might be down in price. And I'm also going to make 100% sure I'm looking at the same security, because Royal Dutch Shell actually trades on many stock exchanges, and what I want to be sure of is that I'm looking at the exact one that matches here. So let me just make sure that we got the right guy. Okay, Royal Dutch Shell, RDSA. Okay. Okay. That's right next to our US dollar value. Royal Dutch Shell sponsored. Okay, I'm going to come over here and we do a search. Okay, I believe it's this one. Stock, and let's look at that fundamentals explorer we were just talking about. We don't need two of these open. Royal Dutch Shell is a company based in the Netherlands, explores for crude, oil, natural gas around the world. Financials. Why did we get a negative score for me all of a sudden? Ooh, it reported some very bad revenues for 2020, which I did know about when I made that stock pick, but I believe that it was going to make a big bounce back. If it was pandemic related, it went down. Price to sales, TTM quite low. The PE ratio is still not bad for a company. I mean, I don't know, that should be such a negative deal. Let's come back over here and let's look at the quarterly financials. They have any negative profitability quarters. My program hates it when you lose money. And Royal Dutch Shell has lost money in some of the previous quarters. But once again, that's something that I have manually thought that was all right. Dividend yield, not bad. I'm going to come back over here and take a look at the stock. Maybe let's look at it over the last couple of years. And I think I bought it somewhere back in here, and it's gone up a bit. And you can see our DSA. I owe $93,000 worth. Bought it at $75,000, having an $18,000 profit. Not amazing, not bad, but my program, I think, is artificially hating on Royal Dutch Shell due to its losses it took. I could override this if I so chose. Navios Maritime acquisition has the same issue, I believe. Some losses because of crazy world events, more or less. But I actually picked it out as sort of a contrarian pick. I thought after the pandemic it was going to be making a bounce back. These are some stocks that I bought before I was running the algorithm much, and did some of these by hand, but my program disagrees with me, obviously, especially here over the last year. You look at the annual revenues, generally solid. Actually, last year was banner year for Navios Maritime. Only $60 million. I think this company has some weird Greek owners that are doing some weird stuff in the news, and this kind of makes it look bad. But, yeah. Alright, let's pop back over. I'm okay with selling Navios, I think. We got a little more Royal Dutch Shell here. I'm just out of that 91 grand. Navios, I don't care about selling. Guild Holdings, don't care about that. South 32. That's an Australian company. I want to own something in Australia, but there's probably better options in Australia to own. Then I need to look into what those are after I make some trades here. TK Tankers is another one, like Navios Maritime, that got hit by the pandemic. And just people hate these big shipping companies at this point. But I think that there's some potential. I made money on them a little bit. We'll take a look at it. International Marine Transportation for oil, crude oil. Especially some of these pipelines being canceled, I think they might have a decent chance to make some money. 550 million, 430, 776, 940, 860. Not a bad year during the pandemic, although their quarterly revenue is really not looking too good here. And they've got some big interest expenses, don't necessarily like that. Net income after tax had some losses. Once again, that's why my program has downgraded them. Don't hate their, I do hate their PE versus pretty bad, 63. And price of sales of 14. That's got to be wrong. That's not the numbers I saw previously. Sometimes worried about this. Sometimes Interactive Brokers gives me data that I don't entirely trust. That's why I have my sanity checked with Charles Schwab, just to make sure that things are not going to be too crazy, you know. Okay, TK Tankers. United Natural Foods. What in the world? They've been just slaughtered on. This company was actually, not too long ago, a quite high-scoring company. Oh, interesting. Total score is very low, although the TWS score is higher. Now that's a little concerning to me. Let's see if we can find TWS score in here. TWS score. Where are you at? Total score. I think I have to merge in that third table. Here we go. Left outer join IVF. We want Joe Contract Fundamentals. Let's see. Okay, here we go. And it's total score descending still. So let's come over here. Then grab our US dollar value, move it over there. Go over here and grab our long names. Right here, bring that over near the dollar value I have invested in it. And then we also want to know about my TWS score. So if the TWS score doesn't match the total score, I want to check out why. It could be Charles Schwab is saying it has different fundamental data. That's good to know. Okay. So TWS score is 31. We go get total score. I wonder if the sector tag may have been set a long time ago and then it changed. You know, actually the sector tags get set and then they remain there, I believe, in a lot of cases. Let's go find total score column. Here we are. And we move it over. And now we can compare. Okay, total score, and ink score. United Natural Foods. So we're going to go look at our Schwab table. Let's see if Schwab is yelled in disagreement and said, do not buy this. Okay. Schwab fundamentals, is this it? I believe so, yes. Okay. I think that's a stock symbol for United Natural Foods. And the score is a 102. Okay, so that is why I put my trust and belief in TWS over Schwab usually. We can do a double check though. It never hurts. Okay. I'll just go to Schwab, which I'm going to pull up off screen here real quick. My poor wife, I use her account, although it wants me to get a text message, which I guess I have to do. I'll have to yell at her about it. Alright, forget it, I don't care that much. I'll just look at the numbers I pulled in here. Okay. 102. So if their PSTTM is 0.08, let's see if that matches Interactive Brokers. And what that is, what PS is price to sales ratio trailing 12 months. So if we want to compare that, we'll come back over here to this query we ran in United Natural Foods, and we'll see. Well, we should have that way over here. And I have last PS 0.07, so it's pretty close. I mean, in terms of the numbers, that's close enough for government work. 8.8. So why does my program dislike it so much all of a sudden? Well, maybe it doesn't dislike it so much, but it's only got 31 points. Okay, and Warehouser, which I do really like, and so I'm keeping Warehouser. Because Warehouser owns a huge amount of land that never shows up on the balance sheet, and there's no way to take into account for it programmatically. Blue Scope Steel, not a lover of that one. Mueller, I don't even know what this one is. My program bought it for me. Blue Scope Steel, I bought this as an Australian steel company. I like steel companies. But my program, I think, doesn't love it. Thinks that there's better opportunities. Now, a big question for me is I don't want to go sell a whole bunch of Australian companies if there's no better deals in Australia, because I do want to be exposed to Australia a little bit. So let's go look at all of our Australian contracts. So let's go to look at all of them with a currency of AUD. And come over here and we're going to sort by score. You'll see me sorting by score quite often. Total score right there. It's already sorted. Wonderful. Okay, so Vietnam, Industrial, GLG, Vita, Service Stream, Resources Fund, Healthcare, Private Equity Group, Zimplants, Embleton, Fortescue Metals. So there's actually metal groups and steel companies that are better relative prices. Bis Alloy Steel, I'm okay with selling that steel company then. There's some transaction costs anytime you buy and sell, so just be aware of that. That's one of the things I like to think about. I program that into my program as well here. Let's see. So I think 75 is a reasonable approach. 70 maybe we'll knock it down a little bit. We're actually going to remove this currency requirement. It's now going to require this for all stocks. That means it's going to try and do quite a bit of selling, I have a feeling, this evening. And so that's going to be selling quite a bit. We're going to keep Warehouser. Was there any of those other ones that I thought I wanted to keep? Let's just go double check. And we go right here. And we have this positions query. Look at it again. Okay, so stuff I'm going to be selling. You know, I could just simplify this on myself. I don't need to see everything. I want to see long name. I want to see USD value. I want to see total score. I want to see TWS score. Oops. Anything else that I want to pull in? That be helpful to me. I don't think so. We'll simplify our lives a little bit. Okay. So any of these I love. So this can get sold, 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 sold. Warehouse is going to be kept. Mailer is going to be sold, sold. Wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be sold. Quite a bit. I actually probably should do a query here just to see how much money I'm going to be dropping. Magellan midstream. Maybe I should soften up a little bit on terms of my requirements here just for the short run. It's because I'm going to have to be buying way too much back the other way. Oh, China Yuchai. Not in love with Chinese companies, but a lot of them turn out as value companies as well. Hitachi, Seneca Foods. I remember picking a lot of these. These are all companies I picked by hand. But my program now does a better job than what I tried to do. I could never look at 30,000 stocks and keep it all in my head, so I can only look at a few at a time, and that's how these ones were picked. But I guess now it's time to put all my trust in the program. Now, some of these stocks are not going to be sold at all. These are generally puts and things like that on certain stocks or treasury bonds in this case, or agricultural EDFs and that sort of thing, which are not going to be included here and sold. I actually said it's only going to be stocks that are sold in my program. So let's take one more look. We're going to do a where, and we're going to say where total score is less than, how about 64? Now let's run this again. Also gives us a little better idea of what we're looking at. Okay, so that's it. 15, 110, 220, 300, 450. Well, I could have it sum it up, but I think I'm ballpark looking at quite a bit of sales here. It's maybe 1.5 million moving out. Okay. Which generates not an insignificant amount of commissions. Yeah, maybe I'll have the bar be a little lower just for today. Maybe we'll just sell these guys. Now, Pampa Energia, I think that my problem here is that this is the only way for me to invest. I think this is an Argentinian company, and there is no way for me to buy Argentinian companies directly on any exchange. It's not hosted by Interactive Brokers. Let's go take a look at it real quick. Integrated Electricity Company in Argentina. Yeah, there's no way for me to get exposure in Argentina, I think, through Interactive Brokers directly. So that's why I picked this. One way to check is just, this is a sponsored ADR, which means it's a stock that's rebuilt on NYSE. Let's see if Pampa, can I buy Pampa? No, I can't. So I might actually hold on to Pampa just because there's no way for me to get exposure there. And I'd like to have some exposure to Argentina, and I don't even have very much. 18 grand, I don't even know if it's worth bothering. I'm not going to make a special case out of that one. Okay. TK Tankers. Natural Foods. I'm going to keep Weyerhaeuser, as I've mentioned before. Blue Scope Steel I can sell. Volvo. It's another one that could be interesting. Do I want to keep Volvo? Now that's an important question. Volvo is a company, I believe it's Swedish, right? Do I not have a way to get exposure to Volvo outside of these ADRs? think not. And Volvo, I like the direction it's going. Let's look at its fundamentals real quick. Volvo fundamentals. Okay, 20, yeah, and 1.3. I'm not in love with those ratios. They're better than a lot of automotive companies. I think I'm going to have to keep that one. Let's see here, Volvo. You can revisit it later. Okay, what is, actually I need to know their symbol. And execute. Symbol for Volvo is Volvo.b. So we're going to manually exclude this from the sale effort here tonight. So if I just type in origin contract symbol, it's going to skip it. Imperative. I don't have any special love for you. I know that. None for you. None for you. Let's look at this one. I might have some special love here. Okay. And we want to see the fundamentals once again. And we can look at the key ratios. $7 billion company. 15, 0.8. Switzerland-based holding company offering insurance and retirement solutions. Oh, I don't really know what that means, to be honest with you. So it's a Switzerland-based company, though. One of my questions is, am I going to be able to keep exposure to Switzerland after this if I sell? Now, most of these usually would sell in CHF, which is the currency in Switzerland. But I don't have a notation here. So let's add currency on here. I think this one might be in the US dollars, although the underlying will be exposure to CHF. Let's see. Yeah, so let's look at what exposure I can get to CHF. Currency CHF. Do I have better opportunities than Belois? Let's look. So these are all the Swedish companies. I've got a few that are vetoed. Well, I'm going to need to select a few to buy if I want to have exposure there, but I certainly can get better opportunities, it looks like. I'm going to need to come back through here and do a little evaluation of each of these companies. Maybe I can show you what that looks like when I do it. So I just pull up this, do a search for the company, and we are looking for the stock. We want to see the fundamentals explorer for the stock. Let's get a quick look here. This is a Switzerland-based property investor, developer, residential, commercial. I like residential, don't like commercial. Switzerland commercial may do a little better. Question is, how much exposure do they have to commercial real estate in Switzerland? So let's look at their annual. Wow, they got it crushing in the last few years. Revenue is up enormously for a company of their type. That's very impressive. Let's look at some of their ratios. I like to see ratios. Oh, 3.9, Jesus, that's incredible. Okay, dividends. No dividends. Interesting. Now one thing we gotta do is we gotta do a sanity check just over here. Let's see what we got. We're gonna do a quick search on their name. We're gonna look for the news. We're gonna see if they're going bankrupt or doing some ridiculous thing. It looks like they just approved the dividend recently. They're buying apartment buildings. Big shareholder, upgraded credit rating. Not bad. Alright, you know, I'm going to make this one a purchasable one so that we have something to move our money into. We'll also do a check on the next one down, also holding. And we'll take a... Oh no! Oh, I hit the X on accident. Alright, TWS, come back to me. Okay. And I'll move this off screen, do my login. Okay, and I gotta do my two-factor auth with a security key. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. We can do our sanity check over here, though, while we wait. Also, holdings, are you going bankrupt? We are looking for news of bankruptcy. Don't say anything like bankruptcy. Maximize this dealio. And we're going to come over here to take a peek here. And we want to know about that stock again. So let's do a search on it. Okay, I don't even know what the proper name for the stock is. But what I care about is fundamentals, which we are going to see very shortly. Switzerland-based IT company focuses on consumer tech, blah, 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 hardware and software manufacturers, and the value-added security. Interesting. Operates in a lot of countries. Okay. Okay with all that stuff. They do have recent financials. $3 billion market cap. Doing decent. Moving up. Let's look at these ratios. 25. Not great PE ratio, but they generate a lot of revenue. 0.29. I can allow this one. Okay, let's take a look at Bell Foods here as well. Bell Foods, once again, repeat that same process. Bell Foods. Is this trade on the Mexican stock exchange? What in the hell? Swedish company? Switzerland-based company engaged in the production or distribution of meat. Meat from Switzerland. But I think this wants me to buy it on the Mexican stock exchange. It's pretty funny. Okay. PE at 12 and 0.44 price to sales ratio. I like those numbers. Alright, you odd duck. We'll pick you up too. British American Tobacco. Hey Laurel, you think we should buy some tobacco companies? Well, let's say it's pretty hard for people to give up their tobacco. If they were going to give it up, they would have given it up already, right? Once they all die, nobody will smoke it anymore. Okay, so it's potentially reduced risk products, including vape, which is pretty hot, tobacco heating, which is pretty hot, modern oral products, including tobacco-free nicotine patches. It's really funny how much they emphasize all their non-smoking. I bet 95% of their revenue comes from smoking, though. All this just talks about vaping. Okay, well, let's go look at the ratios and the numbers. And a lot of companies are specifically not investing in this type of company anymore. 8.5, a 2.5 price to sales ratio, that's pretty damn high. Okay, let's see here. Company profile, key ratios. Let's come back here to the financials one more time. Revenues. It's interesting. They don't really have as much revenue as I'd like to see for the market cap, to be honest with you. I might veto this one based on market cap. And my wife's advice, of course. My wife's advice takes precedence. Okay, that's enough for now. Let's come back over and see what else we want to sell. Okay, we got to run our little query again, don't we? Our fun little query that tells us all about what we're about to sell. Okay, executes. So once again, we're looking to probably be selling Navios, RDSA, South 32, DK Tankers, United Foods. I'm okay with all these sales. Volvo I'm keeping, remember. Weyerhaeuser we're keeping. Veritiv, Seneca Foods. Hitachi. Ooh, Hitachi. I'm okay with selling you, Mr. Hitachi. Trail Centers of America. Okay. Alright, we are going to unleash the sales process. I'm going to lock it under 3. Now you're actually going to see this thing go fire into action. Here we go. And I still want to reduce the position I have in 8154, a Japanese company I bought too much of. Okay, 8154. Oh no, I don't want to see all these different deals. Okay. Still got too much of it, so I'm still going to sell a little more. Okay, here we go. Alright, we're going to sell all this stuff, and we're going to start to buy. Got a $300,000 buy order for automatic buys. I'm selling more than that. I'm going to change that up to maybe 400. And we will go. The only problem is right around 9:30, Trader Workstation often has like you lose connection for a few minutes as they do some sort of server reset on their side. We'll see how that goes. What this is doing right now is this is pulling in all the positions. You can see if I slow down, we look at some of the data. It's getting contracts on things I own, like this SNEX, a Japanese stock 2737. If we scroll over, we can see the long name, which would be something you would recognize. But it's buried in all this security data. Oh, I guess you won't be able to see it, but it's buried in there. Anyways, pulling in all my positions, and what's going to do is it's actually going to launch into what we talked about. It's going to take profits. It's going to tax loss harvest all negative positions. It's going to sell low point stocks. It's going to buy 400K in stocks, start filling stuff up, and it's going to sell this Japanese stock. Well, I'm going to wrap this up for now. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a comment. If you have any questions, feel free to ask questions in the comments. I'll answer. And we'll go from there. And if you enjoyed it, please like it, and that'll encourage me to do some more of these. Thank you very much.